Boy, I have many questions, but one of them is that my father fought in the Pacific Fleet.
Right.
Was
So
on
did
3
mine.
ships, did he?
Yes.
I went on 2 ships were sunk, survived twice
Right.
in the water. And he has, probably like your father, my father has a real special bond with those guys. They get together every year. There's less and less every year that I probably will never understand.
No. James Jones wrote about this,
Yeah.
And not only did he write about the war's horror, he also said in his book, he said that in the moment that you know you are going to die, not only intellectually, but from the gut level, in that moment, and the fellow next to you is going to die, and he knows it. In that moment, there's such a fear that pervades you that it just strips away all your conditioning and all your individuality and everything, and it strips it away. And in place, what comes is an unbearable compassion of love for your fellow that's going to die with you.
Wow.
And he said it was the strongest feeling of love he ever felt in his life.
Euphoric.
Yeah, yes, it's tremendous. And he said, there's nothing that compares to it in life. The only way I can tell you about it is that there's a bit of it in the love of a parent for a child, in that the parent will sacrifice his life for the child. But it's more than that, because there's a recognition of everything past being a parent, or everything strips away.
Yeah.
So there's nothing left. And what you find after that is this feeling of love.
Yeah.
And that's the bond that your father talks about, that the film is talking about. But the irony is it has to be it's in the most absolute horror that man can create.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
I'm totally amazed by that whole concept.
Yeah.
Also, I don't think I've ever seen a film that has as much to do with the men in the middle of horror as the environment in the middle of horror, and the innocent people who live in that environment who have nothing to do with that. Films rarely touch on that. Maybe it's too ambitious.
Too ambitious, but Terry is extremely ambitious.
He is.
I mean, his mind is extremely wide. You're a little awe of it. I mean, he knows every bird. At the same time, we talk Homer, and we talk this, we talk that, and so it's tremendous to be with him.
Is he as philosophical as you thought he would be?
Yes, he is. He's oblique in his philosophy because he's interested in hearing what you have to say too. So he's not just all him. He's very interested. So he'll say a few things, and then he'll listen to you, and then he'll say something, and it's always very poignant. He came on the battlefield where we were shooting one day, and he came to me and he said, I have a couple of pages I've written, and you take a look at it. Don't show it to anyone, because I haven't really finalized it, but I want you to edit it. And he said, just read it. And I said, right now? And he said, yeah, just read it right here. You can read it to yourself. And the first word was Eros rhododactylus. And I said, what does that mean, Terry? And he said, that means a rosy-fingered dawn. It's Latin. I said, okay. And I'm reading this poem. And well, this is a wonderful poem. I said, where's this from? And he said, Homer. And then he went on to tell me this specific battle in Homer, where it comes and all that. And he said, it's too long, so you edit out. That's the whole poem, and edit out what you think. And, maybe one day down the line, next week or so, you can look at the sky, and it'll be in the morning, and you'll say, Eros rhododactylus, and cite this poem. And,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's in the film, but,
I think it is.
Yeah.
I think there's a little bit of a
So that's the poetry he adds into this piece.
Kind of eccentric genius stuff.
Yes.
Nice to see. Yeah, good work, Nick.
Thank you.
Really nice work.
Thank you.